So we're heading to our neighbors on Inspiration to interview them for our first of Meet the Cruisers. Justin's really excited. Say hi, Justin. Nice to meet you, Gary.
And this is Rose, or Compass Rose.
Hey, Rose. Oh, she's so excited. And you are?
Margi.
Margi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
25, 30,000 a year, maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
You know.
Yeah, that's
and,
about what I
and a big
spent.
part of that is we're spending $4,000 a year just on insurance for the boat. But the boat's like our whole, our whole life savings, etc., etc. But I've known, especially, I've run into a couple of younger couples that are in their early mid-30s or late 20s. They bought a monohull sailboat and fixed it up, so it's they don't have nearly the money into it that's in the cat, and they don't have insurance on the boat. And like us, we anchor pretty much whenever we can. Now we're kind of splurging because a week we're at a mooring, which we almost never do.
Is it because of the wind coming up this week?
No, it's because it costs $10 a day.
Right, $20 is my over under in terms of mooring. So I find it averages about 20 bucks. So it's 15 euros. So I'm like, all right, well, on average, I'm saving, that $5.
Yeah.
But with wind and coming in, 15 to 20. It's probably looking more like 20. I've been cruising too long to sit around at anchor and deal with that.
Like Portsmouth, they put a whole bunch of moorings into Portsmouth.
Where is Portsmouth?
Portsmouth is the north end of Dominica.
Okay.
Okay. Real nice place. Really enjoy Dominica as an island. In fact, that's where we're going. From here, we're going down to Portsmouth. But the bay in Portsmouth, absolutely nice, wonderful sand, great for anchoring. So it's like there is absolutely no reason on the face of this earth that I would pay for mooring when I can anchor. Okay.
And is that from experience? Have you guys anchored there a lot before?
Yeah, we've been there several times. Yeah. And it's just a matter, and the two of us used to camp a lot when we were living in Florida. We did a lot of camping, a lot of canoe, like overnight canoe trips, etc., that kind of thing. And so this is kind of like camping in an RV. But we will, a lot of times, we'll go in to eat and we'll go find a local place and we'll eat where the locals are eating rather than where the tourists eat. Yeah. Well, that saves us, you're already, 50% of your food cost is saved just by not eating where the tourists eat. Okay. Yeah. Things like that.
And how do you find the local spots? Is it TripAdvisor, or do you use another app?
No, we just walk around and we talk to people. Okay. We've met a lot of locals on all these different islands.
Yeah, you think Flamingo was taking a walk?
Oh no,
it's still connected.
Oh, it's still there. It's getting a little deflated right now.
And we've met a lot of different locals on all these different islands. So, everybody's real nice. And there's usually, not so much on the French islands, but especially on all the English islands, you see little places alongside the road all over the place that, somebody set up and they're doing barbecue chicken or ribs or whatever, fish, etc.
A lot of roadside stands, isn't it nice? We saw a lot of those in St. Lucia. So I know we discussed this earlier when I met and asked if you guys were okay with being interviewed. But can you tell me when you guys started cruising?
We left, and well, I left West Palm Beach the 1st of March in 2012.
Okay.
Margi was a CPA. She was over her head in tax returns, and so a friend of mine and I sailed the boat through the Bahamas to Georgetown in the Exumas.
Okay.
And then he got off there, flew back to the U.S., and 3 weeks later, Margi flew on, and then we left like the 2nd or 3rd of May from Georgetown and headed basically east and south. And we ran into a couple of other boats, and we bounced through a lot of the islands with them, and then we ran into another boat. We went through a couple of passages with them, then we ran into another boat. And so, you know, we kind of a lot of it was going with another boat.
And had you met them before, or did you meet them along the way?
Met them along the way.
Okay,
Met them along
wonderful.
the way. And some of our best, closest friends now are people on other boats. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, okay, well, hey, we're doing this and we're doing this, and it looks like we're both going to cross paths like this island, so, okay, let's meet it in this bay kind of thing.
That's great.
We went to Antigua for the Classic Yacht Regatta. And one of the reasons for that was because we had several other friends of ours that they were all going to the same regatta. So we said, okay, fine. Some of them were coming from, from Puerto
No. Sorry, that had gasoline on it.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Puerto Rico, you know, I mean, some of them were coming from Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands.
Rose.
Some of them were coming from Trinidad, etc.
Honey, get
Hey.
a video too.
So, but it was kind of like all these boats all converged in Antigua. So
And it
it's
was all
like,
people you met the first
oh,
year?
we admit, well, we've been doing this now for 5 years.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
throughout
people
the
we've met kind of along the way, and we've got a number of friends that are like, okay, their schedules are kind of fixed, sort of like ours. I mean, we spend hurricane season in the fall in Grenada.
In Grenada,
Yeah.
so you said hurricane season.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's time for her dinner.
Oh, it's okay.
It's time for her dinner.
She's
And-
quite excited. Honey, get her excited.
So we, I mean, there's, so we've got all these friends. I mean, they're all people like you guys. It's like, you know, it's just
Randomly meet.
randomly meet and happen to, you know, have a good connection with. And it's like, okay, and it's like, oh, well, I'm going this way and I'm going this way, but we'll keep in touch, and next year or something like that, all of a sudden, boom, we'll find each other same place again. And
It's so great. We actually, this past time when we came down in the Bahamas, I think we met some good friends as well that way, which was quite fun. We
Yeah.
saw them a few times throughout. So it's always fun to meet fellow cruisers, and that's kind of was the inspiration behind this. Is
Right.
you know, I think people wonder who's really doing it. So many people are, you know,
Right.
wanting to do it, and that kind of brings me to my next question. What motivated you guys to start cruising? Were you guys always wanting to do it, or was it kind of just something one day you guys were like, maybe we should try this? Had you guys always been boating people, or?
well, I wanted, from when I grew up in Iowa,
Okay.
and yet
That's landlocked, right?
landlocked. I mean, it's as far away from the sea as you can get.
And where did you grow up?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee. So you have water there, right?
Yeah, it's on Lake Michigan.
Okay, there we go. The lakes.
But I mean, from when I was a little kid, I wanted to go sailing, and I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. And but I ended up. I mean, as I was growing up, I did a lot of stuff on the water, and my dad ended up having a ski boat, so we went some lakes around my house. So we go out in lakes and go water skiing, etc., that kind of thing. And then once we were married for a number of years and stuff, it was kind of we kind of got into, went back to university and started sailing with the sailing club, and sort of
And
built from there.
where was the sailing club at? You guys first
Actually, it was in
started
Iowa,
sailing?
University of
In
Iowa,
Iowa.
the city.
Okay, wonderful.
I was in Marquette Sailing Club
Okay.
when I was in college.
And that was on the Michigan lakes?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So you actually sailed before him then?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
probably.
Yeah, he was boating, but I was
But you were sailing, so you were kind of the influence there.
So, but it was really
I like it.
this whole trip was really. I mean, it was really my dream that I
Okay.
sort of roped her into.
Yeah. But in a way, she kind of influenced a little. It was the
Well,
seed.
see, I'm a very, let's just kind of go along with the flow of things and not really make any plans because you don't really know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. Whereas Margi's really like, you know, let's plan everything kind of down. And so when we got this boat with the idea that we're going to go off and go cruising, but when it came right down to it, she was like, well, I'm not just leaving without any kind of a time schedule or anything like this. So I'm like, okay, if we go do this, we'll be back in just a little over 2 years. And it's like, okay, it'll do this, we'll be back in Florida in 2 years, 2.5 years. Well, we got, 14, 15 months into it, and she decided that we really didn't have to go back.
So did you guys sell your home, or
We
you guys just
actually,
cut all ties?
We rented it out.
Rented out. Okay.
Because we didn't know but what we'd be back. Well, we're actually now in the process of trying to sell it.
Oh wow. So you guys are in and out for the long haul.
We decided that we, well, we had renters that had been renting it for the last 5 years, and they finally were like, you know, we're moving on. They're moving up to North Florida, so it's like, okay, rather than fixing the house up and getting it ready for a new set of renters and going through all, especially being so far away, we just decided we'd be a lot better off if we just sold the house. And there's a number of little things that this boat needs that we're going to use the proceeds of the house for.
So that's my next question. So I know it's a catamaran, but I'm not super familiar in boats or anything. What type of boat is this?
Well, it's a PDQ 36 LRC.
Okay.
PDQ is the people that build it. Stands for Performance, Dependability, and Quality.
Okay. And where do they build boats at?
Well, they were in Whitby, Canada.
Okay.
They went bankrupt, mid-late 2000s.
Seems like a lot of boat companies. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, you know, that was when the whole they had kind of changed their product line a little bit. Had sort of priced themselves out of the moderate market, and then when the economy just sort of went for a tumble, they just got caught in that whole thing, and so now there's a group that bought the plans for their boats, and they're still producing those boats in Brazil.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And have they changed the company name, or?
Well, they're still the PDQ called it the model was the Antares.
Okay.
And so now they're being sold as Antares 44s.
But it does say PDQ on the label.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like a specialty.
Well, kind of like a Ford Mustang. This is a PDQ Antares, but the people typically refer to them as Antares as opposed to, because like I say, PDQ, the company, is actually defunct at this point.
Can we just go back to the first question about affording and that kind of thing? Because I like to plan ahead and stuff like that, we belong to Seven Seas Cruising Association.
Oh, I haven't heard of it before. What is it?
It's for people that are doing this, that are cruising, and they offer classes. You can take the classes online. They talk about budgeting. They talk about navigation. They talk about weather. The organization is based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
So we were going to there's a potluck every month.
Oh, that's fun.
And so we got advice from a lot of people who basically are retired from doing this because they're too old.
Retired from retiring.
Retired from retiring. But, I mean, you get to a point where you really can't live on a boat anymore. So, but they, talked about their experiences and things like that, and especially for your sister, I think this would be something that would be good.
Yeah, that's great advice. Can you say the name one more time?
Seven Seas Cruising.
Seven Seas Cruising. Awesome.
Association.
And is it only located in Florida, or is it nationwide?
It's worldwide.
Oh, worldwide, not even nationwide.
Where's your sister live?
They're actually in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Because they have once a year in various different places, they have a big convocation. They call it a GAM.
Okay.
Which has got something to do with some nautical term, but it's basically it's a big convention.
Okay.
And the big ones are in Melbourne, Florida, and Annapolis, Maryland. Okay. But they've got others kind of like they have a small one over in Tampa, or St. Pete. I think it's maybe St. Pete every year.
Where's St. Pete? I'm sorry.
St. Pete is about 60 miles south of Tampa.
Oh, okay, so in Florida as well.
Yeah. And they've got
Geography
one
is
up
not my
in
specialty.
Connecticut. They have one up every year, like up in Connecticut.
Okay.
I don't know if they got it. They probably don't have anything close to Austin's pretty much. They got a big. Austin's got a great big lake.
They have, they live on a lake, and for them, I think it's it's a dream. It's when they can get away.
Although,
so.
see, here's one of the things that the folks that all these folks from Seven Seas Cruising Association (SSCA), one of the things they kept telling us was, don't put this off, because you never ever know what's going to happen to you.
I like that advice. Don't put this off.
So, and I've really kind of taken that to heart. Well, the year before we left, I had one guy that came down with cancer that after 2 years, and they thought he'd finally beat it, he died.
Oh.
And another guy he was 10 years younger than me, had a massive heart attack.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
And he's alive, but he's alive only because he was like a half a mile from a hospital, realized kind of what was going on, and drove into the hospital emergency entrance, But it was like,
Thank you.
so these things kind of shook me up a little bit to the point where it's like, I can't wait until for another 5 years or another 10. It's like, okay, I can. And the other thing that for your sister and her husband to know is that this really isn't that hard. I mean, and you probably have kind of seen this. I mean, I left Florida with all kinds of trepidation, thinking, what happens if I run into 30-foot seas and 60-mile-an-hour winds?
Have you guys had any really crazy stories?
No. Well, see, part of it is I pay about $250 a year to a guy by the name of Chris Parker that I get weather from.
Okay.
Okay. Now we've got
How do you receive that weather? Is it an app? Is it?
It's either email.
Yeah, Jenny and Adam
Use it as well.
Yeah.
You can get it through email, or we have a single sideband radio, which is like a shortwave radio.
Okay.
And we can get it on we can tune him into a certain frequency, particular times of the morning, and get it like that.
And are there any apps you do use besides that, or is it only Chris Parker?
We don't actually. You keep talking about we don't have any we don't have a smartphone.
Oh, interesting.
We both got a tablet like to take to shore, and we both got a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tablets are kind of like to take to shore when we want to check email, but we don't. I mean, in terms of like apps and smartphones and stuff like that, we just don't.
What about perhaps Justin here? He uses Garmin a lot.
Well,
you guys
see,
use Garmin?
well, actually, we've got this big thing that says Ray Marine on it.
Oh, okay.
It's a chart plotter GPS.
So just like Garmin.
Right.
Okay.
Although, again, I know a number of people that have got the smartphone and they have a navigation app on the smartphone, and whenever they're going anyplace, the smartphone's right in a holder right there at the nav station, and they it's got charts on it, and they use that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow. Very
it's.
I met a couple of guys in the Bahamas that did that, and one of them, they went from Lake Worth. One of them dropped the phone halfway through the Gulf Stream, and they're like, oh, well, we got the other one. And they got into Green Turtle Cay and the Abacos, and the guy was getting in the dinghy after a night out, fell in the water, fried the other smartphone, so they sailed back on their 1964 26-foot Pearson with a tiller just by memory, got 2 new smartphones, and came back. Did the whole trip within 36 hours.
Wow.
I think the app question comes. Justin uses Passage Weather and a few other ones.
Uh-huh.
And that was a big question also. My sister and her husband they're wondering apps they use. So it's quite interesting to hear you guys don't use them.
There's
Chris Parker.
3-4 different websites that
what are they?
I'll go to.
Do you mind sharing them?
I'd have to open up. Passage Weather might be one. There's a couple, and I don't know their names that I can pull out my laptop and fire it up. And
you can always give it to me after, and I can put it in the comments below.
But there's some, and you can get apps for this as well that bring up grid files. grid files are it's GRIB, stands for gridded binary, but basically what it does is it gives you weather, wind forecasts. And typically those forecasts are real good for 24 to 48 hours, 72, 3 days maybe.
Right.
After 3 days they're pretty much worthless.
Okay.
But if it's like, okay, hey, I'm looking like getting ready to go, you pull up an app or a website that has gets the grid files, and then it shows you kind of how the winds are, so you can see.
Predict Wind is the one I use.
Yeah.
It's like that.
But
I'll have to get those from you after.
but like whenever we've gone and go anyplace.
Honey, get this. It's so cute. It's so cute when she barks. Get when she's barking. Get her in the video. She's so cute.
I thought it was funny when she was out there barking at the swan,
Oh, yeah.
or at the flamingo.
I was telling him how that's how I approached
she had no
guys.
idea
I was
what that
slowly
was, but-
approaching, and she, she was alert immediately though. As soon as I'd been in the water a bit before, and then I got out to repump the swan and get a little bit more drink. And then when we got back in the water, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ask them. I was thinking about it. You guys seemed friendly when we had dinghied past earlier. And as soon as I started to approach your boat, even from our boat, literally, that's when she started barking. And I think you first saw her.
Right.
Yeah. And then you came out because she didn't stop. You guys were like, what's going on? And then you saw me really approaching. So that's my next question. You guys, when did you get her?
We got her in April last year.
April last year. And where did you get her at?
From the Grenada SPCA.
Oh, wow. And how did that work with adopting her in Grenada? Did she come with vaccinations already? Was it easy to go to other countries?
She got all her vaccinations. We paid, and we were required.
It included to be fixed.
Yeah, we had her for about a week or so. And we took her back, and they spayed her. And then we also paid for them to put a microchip in her.
Oh, great. That's one thing I've kind of seen. We don't have a dog, but I've noticed that in a few countries. Almost all of them require microchipping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going into countries, every country's different, but the two French countries, Guadeloupe and Martinique, they don't care. You got a dog, not a problem.
They don't care at all.
Most of the rest of Grenada is okay with dogs.
Grenada's okay.
But most of the rest of these countries, they want to have a health certificate. They want to have a vet examine them, and then.
How far back does that vet examination have to be? That's one thing I've seen. Like some I've seen say 10 days. Which, if you're cruising that often, that seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
How can you get a vet examination every 10 days?
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of when we went to Antigua required a health certificate.
7 days old.
7 days old.
So what we ended up doing is we left St. Lucia, and the day before we left St. Lucia, we took her into animal place there. They examined her. That we got a health certificate and an export permit.
Okay.
And then we took off and we hightailed it to Antigua.
You got there in 7 days?
And got there, and then checked her back in.
And how much was that health certificate to get? What was the cost?
It's $50 US.
$50 US.
And then when you enter the country, it's another $50 US.
Oh wow, so it's about $100 for some countries then to enter and leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a lot more expensive. Whole lot more expensive for her than it is for us.
For you guys, wow.
Yeah.
But is it worth it having a dog aboard?
I think so.
I see the smile on your face.
It's nice to come up to the boat and have the dog, come out and greet you. Mm-hmm. And most of the places are really pretty safe, but
she's afraid of you.
Oh, they're filling up with.
Rose, are you afraid?
She's scared of loud noises, strangers.
She warms up quick though.
Thunder and lightning. Scared to death of parked cars.
Really, parked cars?
Yes. Strange men, much more so than women. Mm-hmm. And kids, she's fine. Oh, she loves kids. But,
that's good. She's good with kids.
But especially strange men, she's real iffy about. So.
Okay, let's. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got more questions.
I do have more questions.
Right.
So the next one is going to go a little more technical on.
Okay.
It kind of has to do. I know you guys probably noticed we're on a monohull. So one question I have is regarding the difference between monohulls and catamarans. Do you believe monohulls handle bad weather better or catamarans?
I guess if it was really bad weather, a monohull would probably be. It would feel safer anyway. Okay.
And why do you think it would feel safer, out of curiosity? Because
Well,
aren't catamarans supposed to be more stable?
This boat and there's a big thing about catamarans is you look at them and you look at the distance between the water and the bottom of what's called the bridge deck, which is this middle part. Okay. We've only got about a clearance like this, so any waves bigger than that, they come through, they hit the bottom there, and that table in there will actually bounce. It moves with waves coming in here.
So a bigger catamaran with a higher bridge deck
wouldn't do that as much. But I mean, if you got real rough waves, you're going to get a lot of pounding on it assuming you're going into the waves now. Okay, you're going to get a lot more pounding with a catamaran, whereas a monohull is going to tend to slice through the waves a little bit more. Okay. Now, that being said, I helped last summer deliver a 42-foot monohull from Grenada to Roatan, which is part of Honduras in Central America.
Oh wow.
Okay, 1,500 miles across the Caribbean. We had.
Did you guys both go?
No, okay. Just me. It was myself and two other guys. This boat that had a couple living on the boat. The guy dropped dead of a heart attack.
Oh, I'm excited.
And they had a real good friend of theirs in Roatan that owned a marina, and he told the wife, he said, if you can get your boat here, you can leave it here for as long as you want, no charge. And so she mentioned this to a friend of ours who used to deliver boats. And he was like, well, hey, as a favor, no charge except for, feeding us and flying us back to Grenada. I'll find a couple of other people and we'll take your boat to Roatan. Okay, so he asked me and I said, sure. Well, we're going west across the Caribbean. The wind was supposed to be from like the east, maybe a little bit north of east. So it's like we're broad reach downwind. This should be absolutely a wonderful sail. Should be terrific. Well,
is that good winds?
Good winds, except we're over a little bit and back, and over a little bit and back, and over a little bit.
Right.
And then 6 hours into the trip, I'm like, turn around and take me back to Grenada. I didn't sign up for this.
So for you, then you realized the catamaran would be more comfortable.
Catamaran would have been, and this thing just.
Yeah, it's got, yeah.
It had two bunks in the cab in the salon. And the older guy, the captain said, "I'm taking the cabin in the back." And there's two bunks up there, and the older guy said, "I wanted the lower bunk." I said, "No problem, I'll pop up." Well, I go up there to go to sleep, and I'm just about to sleep, and all of a sudden this thing rolls over, and all of a sudden I'm spread-eagled to stop myself from getting thrown out of the. Now the lower bunk had a lee cloth, the upper bunk didn't.
Oh no!
So I spent the whole night basically. Spread eagle trying to make sure that I didn't get thrown out of this bunk because I could just because right there about waist level is where the mast was, and I'm like I could just boom, like this.
So for you, then you were reassured on getting a catamaran.
So, and I kept telling you, it's like I would. This is not what I said. I had 2 days. 2 days I was miserable. After that I was like, okay, I'm kind of. But I ended up. On the low side of the boat was a settee that was about 4.5 feet long.
What is the settee?
Settee, like a little bench.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And like I say, it was about 4.5 feet. I'm 6'4", but I'm like, it's more comfortable for me to sleep there and know that I'm not getting thrown out in the middle of the night.
Oh wow.
So that's where I slept for the whole 2 weeks. Was there in this little. So going upwind, especially in heavy wind and seas, etc., a monohull would probably be overall feel better, okay, in terms of being sturdy and solid, etc. But if you're going, especially if you're going downwind in any kind of seas at all, catamaran is absolutely the right way to.
So my next question comes to an
We were running out of light.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
I can turn on light.
Ah.
Oh no.
Okay.
I don't think that. Okay.
We'll have a few more.
Okay.
So the next one is hoving too.
Right.
How effective is that?
I don't think that you can do that in a catamaran.
Okay. You don't
Okay.
think
Whereas a monohull, you bring out a little bit of sail and flip the wheel over and lash it in place, and you hove to. Everything I've read about catamarans, they don't really do that, simply because of the nature of the beast.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what it means. It
Well,
was a question from my
The
brother-in-law.
only time you would do that would be if you were out like in the middle of the ocean and you had a 60, 80 mile an hour gale coming through,
Okay.
and it's like, okay, we just button everything up, close it up, and it's basically way to the boat kind of goes up, stalls out, drops back, goes up, stalls out. So it kind of a way of keeping you in one general place. We have a big, I've never used it, but we've got a big parachute drogue anchor. So if I was in that kind of a situation, I'd put the anchor out, and then I just hang back from this, like a sea anchor or a sea parachute, and we'd hang off of that. It would do the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So another question I have, and this is for you, my dear, and it comes down to baking. So this is one thing that, for me, while sailing, that
Just
I
make or break our relationship with this answer right here.
It comes down. Do you guys have propane on your boat?
Yes.
So your propane usage, how does that work? Do you bake? How often do you cook?
I really hate using the oven. It just heats up the whole place, so I don't do baking at all.
Okay.
Yes.
You can see his enjoyment there.
But I never did. I was never a good cook. I never liked cooking.
We have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is my
I'm sorry.
question.
I like it. Remind him.
But I usually make eggs in the morning for Gary. I make eggs every day. But and then I cook a dinner. Or he does. But
And do you guys cook dinner almost every night, or?
almost.
Yeah. Almost. And again, if you had $100,000 a year to spend, you'd be going in here and you'd be eating at restaurants. Okay.
But I prefer to be back at the boat by dark.
I love cooking on the boat. Like, I enjoy it. Like, I think it kind of it's healthy when you can find those vegetables. It kind of makes you also really enjoy vegetables too, like the ones you can find. Like, what can you find? It's kind of like a.
And like I always ask how to cook things because like pumpkin is one thing I've never cooked. I had never cooked before.
Where did you cook that out? What country?
Grenada.
Oh, okay.
And you just boil it, and you can mash it up like mashed potatoes and stuff.
Nice.
But pumpkin is. So
Do you want more light in here?
No, I think it's all right. We're losing it probably another 5 or 10 minutes, and it's gonna be dead.
We do know people that bake regularly, bake bread, etc., etc., etc. So we've got 2 LP gas tanks down here.
Okay.
And they're 10-pound tanks, and they last about 3 months.
Okay, that's what we have as
4
well.
months.
Right, 3 for both
3
of them.
months.
No, about 3 months apiece.
So 6 months, no, for 2 tanks, not 2 weeks.
Well,
we were going through it.
We're having an issue with our tanks where right now, literally a tank, we turned it on and in a day it was gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're not sure if the tank is leaking or it's the hose. Something's going on, and it's kind of been happening since January. We had some people on the boat in January and they smelt propane, and then since then it's just been slowly, we filled it up probably, I'd say 3 times both tanks, which is 6 tanks in a few months.
Wow.
So that's kind of why propane for me is an interest, Right. So I do bake though, and one thing I was thinking, I've used broil a few times. And I think perhaps broil uses a lot of propane. But then the last time when we cooked and it went out in a day.
Now on the other hand, and we don't use it a whole lot, but I was told to get a pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker?
Yes, because
I know a lot of people that use that.
Pressure cooker will cook all kinds of stuff in 1/3 the time that it takes without it.
Okay, cool.
But the best thing I found was we'll get conch
Okay.
And we got conked in the Bahamas a few times and beaten on it, doing everything. We'd soaking it in lemon juice, etc., trying to tenderize it. Well, you take the conch, cut it into chunks, put it in the pressure cooker, cook it in the pressure cooker for 20-25 minutes, and it's as tender as can be.
Oh, wow.
No beating, no nothing, just pressure cooker.
They're running out of time, so let her ask
Okay.
the questions.
Okay.
We're getting off the subject.
Thank you, honey. So my next one is, what is your guys' favorite island that you've visited in the past 5 years?
Grenada.
Grenada?
Yeah.
And that's where you guys spent hurricane season there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And what harbor do you guys stay at in Grenada?
Prickly Bay.
What is it?
Prickly Bay.
Prickly Bay. Okay.
We actually have a mooring there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you just have it year round. So it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
there for you.
We decided that that's where we wanted to stay. We found somebody that was selling one, so we bought it. So.
And going back to cost, like I'm curious. I've never heard of a mooring year round. How much does that cost a year?
Well, we bought it for $1,000.
Oh wow! And so
What?
It cost
Yeah.
$1,500 US for the people who put it in,
okay.
and then we bought it from them like 6 months later for $1,000.
And so you guys have it forever for
Yep.
$1,000.
Yeah. Well, now
Well,
we
have
pay
to maintain it. We
we-
have to get it checked and maintain it. And
3 times a year. A diver goes on it. That costs $40 US.
Okay.
And we've had it for 4 years.
And they'll let just like a random American go down there, plop in.
Well, see, actually, what it was
because for
they-
$1,000, I'm gonna go do that next year.
well,
Like,
1,500. Say
whatever.
But,
It's so much cheaper than going to a dock.
It's not illegal. Supposedly, it's not legal to do it. And what we actually have is a helix anchoring system. It's
Right.
just an anchor in the water.
I got
Yeah. What they did is they got this local guy that installs them and maintains them and stuff, and
So
contracted with him.
there's some wiggle room in
Right,
the
yeah.
laws.
And,
Yeah.
But yeah, in reality, technically it is not a mooring; it's a helix screw anchor.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I know.
Well,
Yeah, I know what that is.
technicality
Yeah. Yeah.
So going on to another question. So this
Okay.
is just one I know. Did you guys rename your boat when you bought it, or
Yes.
did you go? You did.
Yes.
So you believe that it's not bad luck to rename.
No.
Did you guys smash a bottle of champagne on the when you renamed
I wasn't going
it?
to waste champagne.
We didn't know anything about that.
I
We
did.
didn't-
I did, but I was like, I'm not wasting champagne. just
You'd
to-
rather drink it. Okay.
I bet
But
there's.
I've heard that you
there's
smash
no,
a bottle
like-
of champagne and you could dent the boat too.
Right.
Okay. So last question. You guys have done so much sailing in the Caribbean. Do you plan to go outside of the Caribbean, or is this kind of where you guys want to stay and continue to explore?
Well, I'd kind of like to explore the ABC Islands, Colombia, and then the Western Caribbean. I'd like to go across the Atlantic. Margi does not want to go any place where we get outside of land.
Colombia, I will tell you, is amazing. I spent 3 months in Colombia, and some of the islands there, I know Belize and Colombia are fighting over a few islands
Yeah.
to see
yeah.
who really owns them, and they're beautiful.
Now, actually, my plans are this fall, September or so, to go to Guyana, which is South America.
Oh!
Margi's not going to go. In fact, I'm looking for crew to go with me because I need
Oh, you're
somebody
looking
else.
for a crew.
I need
Well,
somebody else
perhaps
on
we
the
can
boat.
add an email into this if
Sure.
you're looking for crew.
It's a place that I've